Assalamu alaikum. Excuse me. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I'd like to greet all my YouTube family with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Once again, we're back at the Black Amnesia Show. This is my third outing, and have some major issues that I want to talk about. I want to discuss the situation that's happening in the Middle East with the United States dealing with Iran, which now Iraq and Syria are involved with the situation. Well, as you may or may not know, the United States had some airstrikes on toward Syria and Iraq Sunday and the other day this week, and because of those airstrikes, there were at least 25 Iraqi, some soldiers and some civilians that were killed in the strike. This has caused major uproar right now in Iraq. And of course, the United States is saying that this is a retaliation of one of their American contractors being killed over there, and the U.S. embassy, since has been attacked or is being attacked, or protesters are hitting the streets in Iraq as we speak. Again, it's like I said. I've been saying the last couple of years about what 45 intentions are, and based on what the international bankers want him to do. They want him to declare war on Iran, and of course they have already had some war strikes on Syria, but they definitely want Iran is definitely the focal point of all of this. You know, they want to attack Iran and go to war. Now, I said last year that 45 had basically 1 year left on his contract as far as a presidency or whatever, and now this is the last year. This is the election year. This is the year that he has got to make good on the deal. He's got to make good, and so it's either all or nothing. Either he's going to declare war on Iran, or the select committee, the international bankers who put him in office, they are going to do away with him. It's just that simple. There's really no, it's cut and dry. There's no in-betweens about it, you know what I'm saying? So here you have a man who has been selected, or was selected, as the 45th president of the United States. And those who put him in office, they had one agenda, mostly one agenda. They had few agendas, but one of the greatest agendas they had was for him to declare war on Iran. And I've been saying this for the last 3 years. And so now it seems like this thing is beginning to come to light even more as his presidency comes to an end. You're beginning to see the situation develop. Just stay tuned, because again, you know, the United States has sent troops over there, and they're not sending troops over there because they want peace talks. They're sending troops over there because some things are about to go down. And again, they want to be in position when they do go down, you know what I'm saying? And so that's how it's going to go. And again, it just goes back to the art of war, you know, and how things are being done in conjunction of the Middle East. You know, things are being done where we're going to use the art of war to declare war. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a so-called diversion or an excuse to declare war on a whole other country. And again, we don't mind, even if it's a few of our own who are casualties of war. You know, this is just part of the art of war. That's just how it is, you know. and it goes down. Most recently, I've watched a couple of movies lately. Me and my beloved, my beautiful wife, watched a couple of movies. One of the movies we watched was Uncut. Uncut is a movie by starring lead actor Adam Sandler, who is a Jewish actor, and I must say he's a great actor. And the reason why I say Jewish is because he is Jewish, and I'm not saying that to counterize him, but the movie was based on Ethiopian Jews from over in Africa that were getting these rare cut diamonds, or these rare cut rocks. Well, they were actually diamonds, and Adam Sandler's character in the movie, he's a Jewish diamond dealer, and he basically he gets diamonds and he sells them, But the problem that he had, his character, was that he was a gambler. He gambled, and he would take people's. Sometimes people would say for example, they would pawn items, or they would give him things on consignment, and he would take their merchandise and he would go and pawn their merchandise in exchange for money, and he would take that money and go and gamble on the merchandise that he pawned from these people that he actually still owed money to. And so he was in a lot of debt. But on the other social media, which not YouTube, but damn, I can't get it out. Facebook, excuse me. Facebook, there were some comments on the movie, and I had made a comment, and one of the comments that I had made was, and it wasn't a anti-Semitic comment. It wasn't anything against the Jewish community, who's going through some things right now because some people got killed up in New York, and sorry for those people who were brutally killed. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for anybody who are innocent to be murdered. So we don't, as Muslims, I don't condone that. But anyway, the community, I'm sure it was some perhaps Jewish individuals who responded to my comment. And one of the comments that I made about the movie was that it told some truths about the Jews. Now, I had some people, and I guess because of the last name Muhammad, they felt that it was a Muslim, Jewish thing, as though if it was some sort of attack or whatever, So, but it was not in that content. But basically, what it was that I was responding. I said there was some truths about the Jews that were told in the movie, which there was. Saying you had, in fact, you had a lead actor who was Jewish, Adam Sandler. He did this movie to really, I think, show some things that had been maybe not previously known to many people. But basically, and it's no secret, part of the Jewish community, they control the diamond industry. That's not a secret. That's the news been going on for years. Most people know that. But anyway, he was telling some truths about Ethiopian Jews who were over in Africa and who were in these diamond mines, collecting these rocks, which we know as diamonds. And so those were some truths, but also what truth was also being mentioned was that they, meaning the Jewish dealers who deal in diamonds, they set the bar, or they establish what the value of this commodity, or maybe so-called commodity, is, or what it's worth. So they set the bar on that. And no, that's all I said. I said that it was some truth. So I guess they got offended. You can't. All groups, whether black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. If there's truths about the organization or the group or the ethnic group or the race, then it's the truth. So you can't. Nobody's above truth being told about you. Every time you tell the truth about an organization, or if in this case it had to be the Jewish community or a segment of the Jewish community, you can't call people anti-Semitic just because they're telling some truths. And I say some truths because it wasn't all the truth. So some truths were being told in the movie. And so that is my take on Uncut, the movie by Adam Sandler. Now, a lot of them they criticized the movie. They said it was a horrible movie. It was the worst movie Adam Sandler had ever did. And I disagree. I thought his character may have represented perhaps somebody who was involved in that type of lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, and yet that was kept secret among those communities, you know what I'm saying, or among that community. And he brought that story out. So, you know, again, and of course, again, this is, you know, these are Jewish directors and Jewish actors who are telling a story about probably someone from their community, you know what I'm saying. And so kudos to Adam Sandler and the director of Uncut. Also, I want to talk about another movie that I saw, Mercy, Just Mercy, with, I think it was with Jordan and I can't forget Michael. It wasn't Michael Jordan, but the young man Jordan. I always forget his full name, but him and my man Jamie Foxx. And this movie was deep. I watched the whole movie. It was a sad movie, but it was, again, some truths, or a lot of truths, were told in this movie. And you know, everybody has their different take on the death penalty, especially when it comes to black folks. We have been, for years, we have been discriminated against in the judicial system, and you know, and that's been a problem when you talk about the death penalty and dealing with blacks in America. We know the youngest. It was 14-year-old young man, South Carolina, who was killed, murdered almost 73 years ago. I don't know why I can't remember his name. I'm having difficult with names this evening. I apologize. But you know, that young man was murdered. He was killed back in South Carolina. He was matter of fact, he's the youngest to ever be executed in the United States of America, and he was 14 years old. So it talked about, in this particular movie, it was dealing with the state of Alabama, and how, you know, basically how a black man can be blamed for anything, you know, be picked up and say, hey, okay, this is the guy that we think that we want to say that murdered or killed or did this, and so we're going to blame him. Well, it was this young man who had graduated from Harvard, this young black lawyer who came down from, you know, from up north, and came down to represent this black man who was in a South Alabama prison and on death row. In fact, he represented a lot of prisoners, black men who was on death row in that penitentiary. So, you know, it was a good movie. It educated, and it still talked about how the injustice of the legal system is, and we're dealing with blacks in America. And to this day, we're still dealing with it, you know what I'm saying? So, this is a problem, you know, and it's not, no time soon has it been rectified, or, you know, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? We got a long way to go. And it just goes back to, you know, the civil rights, you know, for years, our ancestors fought for civil rights in the 60s, and this is 2020. This is a new decade, and we're still having the same conversation that are going on as far as, you know, rights for blacks. And, you know, I told you that this channel was going to be talking about issues concerning black people, you know what I'm saying? And it is, you know what I'm saying? So I want to keep that in, you know, it's called Black Amnesia. And basically, the system is forgotten about foundational black people here in America who helped build this country, and we've given a lot to this country, and yet the children, the offspring of the descendants of slaves, are still being disenfranchised, still being treated with no justice, even to this day. So we have movies that tell about our story, bits and pieces, and it continues to go on, you know what I'm saying? So I recommend those two movies, Uncut and I think Just Mercy. Those are two movies that I recommend you check out if you get a chance to see some movies on your spare time. So we talked about we talked about politics. We talked about movies. I also wanted to discuss. I wanted to talk about this voting. This is an election year, and we have to make a decision. And when I say we, I'm referring to foundational black people. We have to make a decision on if we're going to stand firm on our convictions, as far as if you're not going to put reparations on the table as one of the agendas that we'll be striving to have if you're a candidate running for president, then again, you're not going to receive our vote. We cannot in good faith give you our vote. We can't continue to have the same run-of-the-mill situation, whereas you just take our vote, we vote for you, and then after you get in office, we get disenfranchised. We get just put aside, like you're putting a book on the shelf, just put it aside and say, okay, I got that book, but now it's just taking up dust. We can't continue to operate like that going into a new decade. That's just, we can't do that. There has to be a change. There must be a change. And so, again, if you want, a brother like me, if you want my vote, you're going to have to change the agenda. We're going to have a black agenda. And I'm sorry, some people say, well, Sean, again, you feel like that's divisive. We've got all nationalities in this country. A president just can't be talking about the black people. Well, you can talk about us if you want our vote, because all these other communities, they're getting rights. They have an agenda, and their agenda gets addressed when they give a vote. And so we, meaning foundational black people here in America, we want our agenda, and one of our agendas is reparations. And if you're not going to give us tangibles, which reparations would do, then we're not voting for you. And I know some of you are saying, well, if we don't get 45 out, what are we going to do? Well, we've got everything to gain, and we have nothing to lose. We don't have anything. And so that's my position, and I hope it's yours as well. Again, we're talking about, the fall of America, for many, it's falling right now as I speak. Or, just like Carter G. Woodson's miseducation of the Negro. Saying, how long are we going to continue to be miseducated or misdirected, saying, in the light of the day? No, we have to have a change for the better, a change for our children, our grandchildren. We have to have something for them. And one of the things they're going to need is tangibles. They're going to need something they can call their own. And wouldn't it be beautiful to leave them land? Wouldn't it be beautiful to leave them property when you're gone? Because you can't take, there's an old saying, you can't take it with you. No, you can't, but you can certainly leave it behind for your children and your offspring. This would be something, and this is why we are having this discussion. This is why we're talking this type of talk, because it's relevant today. It's been relevant for since 1865, or the so-called we got freed or whatever. It's been relevant. It has not changed. And so it is today, 2020. It's just as relevant as it was back then when we got freed. So again, we must have a black agenda, and on that agenda, it must be reparations. It must be on the table, and we cannot continue to keep talking about it. Candidates, you must put it into action. And if you want the vote, our vote, then you're going to have to give us concessions on the reparations. That's pretty much all I have to say this afternoon, or this evening rather, excuse me, because it's I'm going to get ready to get on out of here. Got some things I have to do, but I want to thank you once again for watching my channel. If you have anything, you want to add, I'm going to eventually go live. Right now, I'm just doing the recording, and eventually I'll go live. But if you like it, if you like my channel, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm going to be talking about some issues that are going to be, some things you won't know. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the whole thing as far as my channel. I want to be able to enlighten those who are not familiar with events or current issues that are dealing with black folks. I want to thank you once again. My name is Sean Muhammad, and I want to greet you as I came with the greeting words of peace, and that we say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. Peace, family.